Maverick 100.9 Aggie Lands Country Alternative. It's Corliss, joined again by Kaleb McIntire. Only this time we have actually met in person.
That's right. Finally.
That's what I think you and I griped about that in our last interview, is we're always like whoosh, whoosh, whoosh and passing by, but we never get to like just have a hug, you know?
Yeah, I've been telling Jim for a long time, man, I got to meet Corliss, you know?
Right?
So finally, I was super stoked to meet you, and you were nothing but class. And so it's been a pleasure.
Oh, I think class is a little far, and nobody listening to Maverick is going to believe you.
It is coming from me. So, I mean...
But I was like, I had to jump out at you. I was in the middle. So backstory, we were at an award show together, which is always where we run into each other. But I was having a conversation with somebody and I saw you coming, and I told the person that I was talking to, I was like, I have to stop you right there, because if I don't meet this man in person, I'm going to hate myself. And I even got to meet your beautiful baby and your beautiful wife.
Yeah, I'm very blessed. I've got some keepers, that's for sure.
That is for sure. And meeting them in person, I see it now. Your wife, what a fox. Love her. Yeah, she sure is. I don't know how she puts up with me, but I'm a lucky guy, Well, I don't know if luck has anything to do with it. I know Kaleb McIntire, y'all, he works hard. He comes out with some great country tunes, and he's going to have even more this year that we're going to talk about in a little bit. But first up, you've got a brand new single hit in Texas radio called I Don't Buy That Anymore. Love the title. Explain this a little bit for me.
Well, first of all, a lot of people think it's pretty political, and it's really not meant to be like that. It's kind of just the way of the world these days. I don't buy that anymore, because everything we hear and see, internet related and whatnot, it's all just propaganda and kind of craziness constantly, it seems like, no matter what side you're on. And so that's kind of what it's about, I wrote that one with a guy named Brian Mayer a long time ago. Wrote Small Town USA with Justin Moore and stuff like that. So I've been excited to finally release that one. It's perfect timing, I believe.
Right. And I don't necessarily see that as a political thing. I always have especially with my dad, I find myself having these conversations with my dad where he's almost afraid of the world now. And I've had to tell him on numerous occasions, you need to get out into the world. The world is not scary. Something is scaring you. That is for sure. And it's not political, but it is malicious. But if you got out into the world and you just like me, just jumping out at you and hugging you in that moment, I don't care about anything in life like that. Like, no, I'm having a real life conversation with a person, and you will often find that there's a lot more good out there than what you're being told that there is.
Absolutely. And I like to give everybody the benefit of the doubt with that kind of stuff, and it's just when they come and they prove you wrong, that's the disheartening part. But you always, like you said, you got to remember that there's just so much good out there still.
Yeah. It's always going to outweigh it. You just got to remind yourself. It's hard for us to remind ourselves of the good things in life. But yeah, there is your upbeat positivity reminder for the day,
Definitely.
And this song can be that reminder to you as well. We're going to debut it for you now on Maverick 100.9. This is Kaleb McIntire, and I Don't Buy That Anymore. Due to copyright, Brian Broadcasting is not licensed to air this single for you in podcast form, but it is available on all downloading and streaming platforms. Today's interview continues now. Kaleb McIntire on Maverick 100.9. I Don't Buy That Anymore. It's Corliss here, and I'm a huge fan of Kaleb. He and I are Midwesterners, I guess, if you want to call that took a crazy dive down to Texas for the music. And it seems to be going really well for you, Kaleb. You got any updates for us?
Yeah, I'm excited about the new single that I wrote for Creed Fisher that just released a couple days ago, and it's probably one of my best cuts I've ever had at the moment. It had over 200,000 downloads in the first 36 hours, and it's doing great. I'm super pumped for Creed and myself at the moment.
Yeah. And can you touch on that artist to artist relationship a little bit? We hear a lot of people come on here to Maverick and tell us about the songwriters, and some of them are the regular people that you hear on the radio just writing with others, and some of them are completely behind the scenes. How important is that for those relationships?
I'll tell you what, it's everything. It's really everything. And it's really cool to me how me and Creed started our thing because, we have a lot in common. We're a little different than a lot of the artists out there, I've found out. And we're not the best people in groups and crowds and stuff like that. A little bit of anxiety, I guess,
Yeah.
So we were at that T3R award, a couple years ago when we met. And I was kind of over there hiding in a corner on my phone, and then I kind of turned around behind me. And the only other person doing that was Creed. And he was standing right next to me. And he turns around. And he's like, "Hey, man, we have a lot in common, don't we?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I think so." And then from then on, we just kind of hit it off. That was it. And then I started showing him my catalogs of music and stuff like that. And we just went from there.
That is so cool to hear. And, there are a lot of artists like that. And I don't think people quite understand because at your show, you're on fire. But that performance, and I can actually relate to that. Believe it or not, I have horrific stage fright. And I'm always afraid of talking to people for too long because it gives them time to not like me. And that's
I'm with you.
It's this internal fear. And I know Clay Hollis is that way. Randy Rogers is that way. If you ever meet Randy Rogers and you think that he's like a little bit off, he's really not. He's really not. He is one of the kindest people you will ever. And same with Kaleb, with Creed. Creed is one of the nicest guys I've ever met.
Definitely.
But they may not always let you see that on the outside. But I think that's great that you guys have found each other in kind of that awkwardness, if you want to call it that.
Yeah. I don't know if you've ever seen my logo with the cartoon bear. Have you seen the cartoon bear?
Yes, I have.
I think that describes Creed and myself pretty well, actually, like you're saying,
Oh, I love that. Well, I know you've got a lot on the horizon for 2022. Can you talk about any of it with me? Can we get some sneak peeks here?
I have that single out right now.
Mm-hmm.
And it's called I Don't Buy That Anymore. It's doing great, but I'm very excited about our new stuff. We're getting in the studio ASAP. And I believe it since I've had my first son that I think my writing and my music is just advanced quite a bit, and nobody's come back to hear this yet. So I'm really excited about the new, in my opinion, best stuff I've done yet.
It's funny how those life changes can switch over into your work life, but you become more relatable in the end.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely. That's a beautiful experience that you and your wife are now living together. And I think it's both brave and very, very heart swelling that you're sharing that with the world. That's really cool.
Yeah, I appreciate that big time. It's been a mind-blowing last few years, I tell you. It's been nothing but good. Lord works in mysterious ways in my career, and if it wouldn't have happened, I wouldn't have met my wife and had my son and started writing real stuff.
Yeah.
So I thank God every day.
That is beautiful. Well, Kaleb, I'm always excited for you, whether it's what's going on right now or what you have headed your way in the future. But I am really excited that you came to give us the dish on Maverick.
Thank you very much for having me, Cora. It's always a pleasure.